Our book for today is called The Country Bunny and the Little Gold Shoes by DuBos Heyward. And this book was written in 1939. That's even older than me. It's a long book, so might have to do this in 2 parts. We hear of the Easter Bunny who comes each Easter day before sunrise to bring eggs for boys and girls. So we think there is only one, but this is not so. There are really 5 Easter bunnies, and they must be the 5 kindest and swiftest and wisest bunnies in the whole world. Because between sunset on Easter Eve and dawn on Easter morning, they do more work than most rabbits do in a whole year. When one of the Easter bunnies grows old and can no longer run fast, the old, wise, and kind grandfather bunny who lives at the Palace of Easter Eggs calls the bunnies together from the whole world to select the very best one to take the place. Often a mother bunny says to her child, "Now if you learn to be wise and kind and swift, someday you may grow up to be one of the Easter bunnies." And all of the babies try to do their very best, so that when they grow up and go to work for grandfather, so that they can grow up and go to work for the grandfather bunny at the Palace of Easter Eggs. One day, a little country girl bunny with brown skin and a little white cottontail said, "Someday I shall grow up to be an Easter bunny. You wait and see." There were a lot of words on those 2 pages. Then all the big white bunnies who live in fine houses and the jackrabbits with long legs who can run so fast laughed at little Cottontail and told her to go back to the country and eat a carrot. But she said, "Wait and see." It sounds like she really wants to do this. The little girl Cottontail grew up to be a young lady Cottontail, and by she had a husband, and then one day, much to her surprise, there were 21 Cottontail babies to take care of. Then the big white rabbits and the jackrabbits with their long legs laughed and laughed, and they said, "What did we tell you? Only a country rabbit would go and have all those babies. Now take care of them and leave Easter eggs to great big men bunnies like us." And they went away liking themselves very much. Cottontail stopped thinking about hopping over the world with lovely eggs for little boys and girls, and she took care of her babies. And one day when her children stopped being babies and were little girl and boy bunnies, she called them to her and said, "Now we are going to have some fun." I wonder what kind of fun they're going to have. Then to 2 of them she gave little brooms and showed them how to sweep out the cottage. And she taught them how to make beds. 2 more went to her kitchen and in no time at all found out how to cook a good dinner. And with these went the 2 little dishwashers, and they made the glasses shine like crystal. 2 had little wash tubs full of soap suds, and they washed all the linens. 2 did the sewing and the mending. It sounds like they're in groups of 2, which is an even number. But she had 21 babies. That's an odd number. 2 had sweet voices and were taught to sing, and 2 more to dance, and these amused all the others while they worked, so they were happy. 2 others were soon digging in the garden. To 2 she gave paints and crayons so they could make pretty pictures for the wall. And when Mother Cottontail had given out all of the tasks, she looked around, and there was only one little boy bunny left, and he was sad and lonely. Then Mother Cottontail said to him, "You are the most polite of all the children, so I shall make you keeper of my chair. And whenever I come to dinner, you shall seat me politely at the table." Then one day the little rabbits were half grown. She heard a great talk among the wood rabbits, and when she asked about it, they said, "Haven't you heard? One of the 5 Easter bunnies has grown too slow, and we are all going to the Palace of Easter eggs to see old grandfather pick out a new one to take his place." So she called her little cottontails, and they all set off to the palace to see the fun. But their mother was sad, because she thought that now she was nothing but an old mother bunny, and she could only look on, and that a big, handsome white rabbit or a long-legged jack would be chosen. When they came to the Palace of Easter eggs, there were bunnies everywhere on the great lawn, and the ones that hoped to be the Easter bunny stood together, and all the others looked at them and clapped their paws. Then the big front door opened, and the old, wise, and kind grandfather came hopping out slowly, and he told the biggest and those with the longest legs to show what they could do. They jumped and ran and showed him their pretty white fur, and they were all very fast and clever. But still he did not pick one, and he said to them, "You are pretty and you are fast, but you have not shown me that you are either kind or wise." Then his kind old eyes looked everywhere, and at last they rested on little Cottontail Mother, where she stood with her children around her. And he called to her to come right up to the palace steps. So she took her 21 children and went up and stood before him. And when he spoke, his voice was so kind that she was not frightened at all. And he said, "What a large family you have, my dear. I suppose they take all of your time." But she said, "When they were babies, that was so, but now they are so well trained that they do most of the work for me." "Ah," he said, smiling, "you must be very wise to train so many children so well. But tell me, do they always look so happy? And do they always hold their ears up so prettily?" "Indeed they do," she answered. "We never have a tear or a cross word in our little country cottage. And if I do say it myself, they do carry their ears better than most bunnies." Then he said, patting the nearest bunny on the head. Let's find out what he said. "You must be very kind indeed to have such a happy home. It is too bad you have no time to run and grow swift, as I might then have made you the 5th Easter bunny." At that, Mother Cottontail started to laugh, and then she whispered to her little bunnies. And every rabbit on the lawn looked to see what would happen, and the old grandfather leaned forward to watch. Suddenly, all 21 children raced away. What? They all ran away? And Cottontail dashed after them, and in no time at all, she had them back again in front of the palace. Then the old, kind, wise grandfather bunny said, "I see that you are swift also. It is too bad that you cannot go to carry my eggs because you will have to stay home and take care of your children." Mother Cottontail nodded her head to the little ones, and they all formed a line and bowed low to the grandfather. Then she stepped in front of them. "They will take better care of the house than I." Then she called them up, 2 by 2, as she put her hands on each of the heads of each pair. She said, "These are my sweepers. They keep the cottage clean as your hand. They make beds without a wrinkle. These cook my dinner. These wash the dishes. These tend the garden. These wash and dry all the clothes. These do the mending. These sing and dance to keep us merry while we work. These are learning to paint pretty pictures for the wall. And the littlest one of all pulls out my chair when I sit at the table." So you can see I can leave to have them take care of the house until I come home. Then the old, kind grandfather said, "You have proven yourself to be not only wise and kind and swift, but also very clever. Come to the palace tomorrow afternoon, for that is Easter Eve, and you shall be my 5th Easter bunny." The next evening, Cottontail knocked on the big front door and was admitted to the palace. There she stood in her funny country clothes, but none of the other 4 Easter bunnies laughed, for they were wise and kind and knew better. Here's the palace. They showed her all over the palace from room to room, all piled high with eggs of gold and silver and eggs that glittered like snow, chocolate eggs, marshmallow eggs, eggs for rich children and eggs for poor children, for children who were sick and for children who were well, all over the world. Then, as soon as it was dark enough for the children to be asleep all over the world, the old, wise, kind grandfather gave the word, and the 5 bunnies set to work as fast as they could. First one, then the other, would take up a large egg or a pretty little basket, and in a single hop would be out of the palace and away out of sight. Then in a moment he would be back again, and before you could say Jack Robinson, he would have whisked away again. Slowly the night wore away, and the bunnies began to look tired as they kept returning for more and more eggs. And in the palace the glittering piles grew smaller and smaller. Poor little Cottontail was very tired, for this was the first time she had ever gone so far, so fast in her life, and she was beginning to hope that she could soon take a little basket that was set aside for her own children and go hopping home, when the old, wise, kind grandfather called her to him. When she went close, she saw that he was holding in his hand the loveliest egg she had ever seen. It glittered like a diamond. Peek through this, and what do you see? So she peeked. And I think this is a good place to stop the story, and we'll do the rest of it tomorrow. But first, I'm going to show you I have a little bunny. Look how little he is compared to my hand. And what does he have in his basket? He has a little egg. It looks very much like the one in the book. And I don't know if you can see. Oh, I got to figure this out. Can you see what's in there? There's a chick. Can you see how tiny this is? Oh, there. I'm having a very hard time showing it to you. There, look how tiny that is. And it has pretty flowers on top of it. My friend Roxy made this out of a caterpillar cocoon. Is that amazing? And she made a little hole inside, and she made the tiniest little chick out of paper and put it inside and gave it to me as a gift. How about that? Okay, we're going to finish the story tomorrow. Bye-bye.